tackles and all of a sudden you're injured, and there'd be packs, they're worth 60, 70 million, some of these players. They don't want to go out an exhibition match when their season's done, when they might not be in game shape and get hit left, right and centre. So they're saying, you let me through here, I'll let you through there. The score's 80-70, but it's an exhibition. It only goes for so long. I agree, it might be losing traction, Doc.
Simon from Singapore has got an opinion. Evening, Simon.
Hey, gents, how are we?
Good, thanks. You're calling from a long, long way. While you're listening to us on the app?
Over the internet at the moment. Or on the app, whatever.
So what do you reckon about an NFL game at the G, Simon?
Well, he's going to be too far away from it. The ground is so much smaller. It's only 100 yards long. I'm not sure how far wide it is, but people are going to be so far removed from it. And before you bring the game to Australia, you need to educate people. Everyone thinks it's all about the quarterback and the big name player, running backs and wide receivers. But the fact of the matter is, if a team doesn't have a decent offensive line, they've got no hope in hell. And those guys aren't even allowed to touch the ball. So people need to know what they're looking at and why teams are good, not just think that, as long as you've got a good quarterback, you're going to be a gun team, because it just isn't the truth.
Who do you follow, Simon?
I'm a Cleveland Browns man. I lived there for a while.
Okay, well, they had a fabulous season last year. 4-12, I think they were last year. And,
it's a very sad story over there, isn't it? But the original Browns went to Baltimore and won a Super Bowl there.
Oh,
yeah. You got the Philadelphia Eagles week 1. What's your gut feeling there?
Well, they're genuinely pretty tidy little setup. Cleveland, I don't know, they keep chasing their tail. They keep you hear these great stories about recruits they've got, but they never seem to come through. The city's in a fairly sad state, and the football seems to reflect the way the city is, unfortunately.
I don't know if the odds have changed there, Al, but it was $4.70 Cleveland this afternoon.
I've got Philly is $1.22, Cleveland $4.50, and there's a line there of 9.5.
That means there's been money, because I got your odds yesterday, and Cleveland's come in from $4.70.
You're a chance, Simon. You're a chance.
I don't think a pro sports team in Cleveland's won since 1960. But maybe this is the year. Maybe LeBron James needs to go back there and shake up football.
I think he's welcome there, just quietly. Cam.
It's funny you say that, but I'm sure if he put his hand up and said, I'm going back to Cleveland, that they'd welcome him with open arms. But he's done and dusted. Now, it only takes 3 minutes to sign up with Betstar, and you can verify your identity online in most cases. As Scanders, Betstar are proudly Australian-owned, fast and friendly service online or over the phone. Join Betstar for great odds and awesome products. Betstar.com.au. And to celebrate the start of the NFL year, 13 games tomorrow. Betstar are giving you $2 lines on all NFL games until kickoff. Head to betstar.com.au. And got to say, one of the best readings of the week, Turfy, Betstar Blast. Al, have you given anyone a whack lately?
Oh, we give someone a whack every week. And when you say you, I just want to clarify to the listeners, I do not write the Betstar Blast.
Hey, don't back away.
Everything is Alan Askander Betstar.
It is a fantastic publication. I stand by the Blast.
As long as you're thick-skinned and you don't mind being slapped around a little bit.
Oh, that includes me, though. I'm the victim of the writer's fury at times. But it is a fantastic publication, and without fail, when I bump into people, that is the one thing that they mention above all else.
You've managed to offend most of the world on a weekly basis.
It's tongue-in-cheek. It's infamous. It's irreverent. It's cheeky. It's fantastic. So if you're not on the Betstar Blast subscription list, you've got to go to our website, which is obviously betstar.com.au, and sign up to the Blast. Guarantee every Friday afternoon you will enjoy it.
Who's responded unfavourably in the media world that you may have had a bit of a smack at?
So Jason Ackermanis sent me a text message, right. And he was very upset about one of the articles that we wrote that referred to him. And Brendan Favola sent me a tweet one time. And basically said if I met him down in alley, it wasn't going to be pleasant. But
you're a Carlton man.
Yeah, I know. But, it's a fantastic publication. You've got to get on board.
Check out the Blast, betstar.com.au. It is Betstar and Stripes. All thanks to Betstar. A very quick break. Ed Wyatt, he's our American star here at E1116 SEN, but he's in the UK. We're going to find out why next.
This is Bet Stars and Stripes with Dr. Turf and Alice Gander.
Take Betstar on, betstar.com.au, and to celebrate the start of the season, I'm talking NFL, $2 lines on all NFL games until kickoff. It's all happening tomorrow, 13 games after the game on Thursday, where the Cowboys 24-17 over the Giants. Head to betstar.com.au or betstar.mobi to get on now. Now, we're right here at 1116 SEN, our American expert. is Ed White. He's going to be in the studio from, I think, 2 weeks' time, but right now he's currently in the UK and he joins us on the phone. How you doing, Ed?
I'm very good to the iPad app. I've been listening to the show. It's sounding very good. I'm not sure you need me, to be honest.
Ed, what on earth are you doing in the UK, given the fact that the NFL season has started, and as soon as it starts, you bail out?
It's a very long story, but my sister's over here, just moved over here. I'm visiting her, and then I've got a party next Friday night for one of my dearest friends in the world. He's rented out Abbey Road Studios, so it's something I just couldn't actually miss.
I was hoping, actually, that you were there preparing for the NFL game, which is on in London every year. Who is it this year?
It's St. Louis and the New England Patriots, and it's interesting. St. Louis was given the opportunity to lose one home game a year if they played in London, and they agreed to do that and then decided to back out of it. And now Jacksonville, the Jaguars, have taken up that opportunity. So I think starting in 2013, they're going to play one home game a year for 30 years in London. So I don't know if that's good or bad that London's going to have the Jaguars as their team, but at least there'll be some consistency, which I think the NFL is using maybe as an opportunity to see if one day a franchise could work over here.
Ed, we've heard over here that the BBC have come to an agreement with the NFL in order to telecast or broadcast, I should say, their Monday night games for the 2012 season. When did they lock that in, and do you think that's going to get traction over there in the UK?
Well, they've just locked it in the last minute, and I've got some friends who work in the NFL UK office, and they've been really battling to get this across the line. It's not like there's no NFL coverage. Sky, which is pay TV, has a lot of games, and Channel 4, I believe, has the Sunday night NFL game. But the Monday night's been a bone of contention, of course, and putting on the BBC is a real victory. So I think that's a really good thing. The support for the NFL actually has grown immensely here. It was popular a while ago. I think it's sort of getting a bit of traction, as you say. And I'm hoping to meet with those guys next week in the NFL UK office and get a little bit more detail on that. But absolutely, it's I hate to call it global sport. I think that's not true, but it's certainly a sport that's being put on television around the world in a lot of places.
Yeah, this is not a great line, so if you want to just move around your room, feel free. Okay, what do we look at? The 15 more games to go, round one. Quite a number, in fact, an extraordinary number of quarterbacks making their debut.
It's interesting you say it's a bad line. I'm actually on a landline. I thought it was better than my mobile, but maybe not. Maybe it's just the way the UK service is. Some rookie quarterbacks, obviously probably highlighted by Andrew Luck, the number one draft pick, the kid from Stanford, who will be playing against the Chicago Bears. That's a very difficult task, actually. But he's looked great, and they said he's the most NFL-ready quarterback since John Elway, who also came from Stanford. So that'll be interesting. I know we've got the Dolphins going with Tannehill as a rookie, the Seahawks going with Russell Wilson. He's been a revelation for them as a rookie. And then the Redskins, of course, with Robert Griffin Jr., RG3, as the kids like to call him. They're playing New Orleans. He might be able to do some damage against that Saints defense. We're not quite sure how they're going to respond. Remember, coming off all that bounty gate thing in the offseason, so it should be very interesting. But, yeah, a lot of good young, exciting quarterbacks, without a doubt.
Is that business all done and dusted with Roger Goodell and what happened last year with the Saints? Is that finished?
It is finished, and I think they've actually allowed Jonathan Vilma was meant to be suspended. He's going to be able to play, the linebacker. But they still don't have a head coach. The head coach is not allowed to be there. Sean Payton, the guy who was the interim coach, going to take over. He's been suspended a few games. So I just think it's a question of how that defense is going to respond. They lost their coordinator. Are they going to come out a little bit tentative, that sort of thing? I mean, you can put it away, but I think until we see them in action, we're just not sure what that's going to take. It's been a huge toll in the offseason, so we'll have to see.
Ed, look, we might just take a quick break from you and try and ring you back and see if the next line's a little bit better. So bear with us, Ed. We'll ring you back and hopefully we can pick up a little, I don't know what, maybe there's water in the lines or something.
Betstar.com.au. Make sure you check them out. It's easy to get on and bet on the go with Betstar. Head to betstar.mobi. Save the page in your home screen. Take us anywhere, anytime. A few text messages still coming in, Turfy.
General thread? What?
Roach. What price Jennifer Hudson v Azarenka tonight? We'll get to that shortly. We'll talk US Open.
I made one mistake. You know, the worst thing was, I don't know if you're aware. I mean,
Hang on, you're going to have to tell the story quickly because there might be people out there who might not know it.
At this pre-Super Bowl party, my problem was on the plane to Dallas, I'd been reading the airline magazine, and the front cover photograph was Jennifer Hudson, Academy Award-winning actress and so forth, and just sort of read her story and looking. She's a beautiful sort of woman, and go to this party, and I thought, that's Jennifer Hudson. When I've introduced myself, I said, "Can I mind getting my photo taken with you, Jennifer? Love your work, blah blah blah." And she looked at me, and she looked away, and I asked her again, and she basically just turned away and buggered off.
Hang on, she walked away in a moon boot as well.
She did, and I said to Hutchie, "I think I've just been brushed by Jennifer Hudson." And he said, probably because that was Serena Williams. So it was a little bit awkward.
She's hard to mistake in Serena Williams as well, isn't she? She's a very unique-looking woman.
Yeah, well, she was actually dressed. I can't tell you how immaculately she was dressed. But, yeah, she did have the moon boot, and she just missed the Australian Open because of foot problems. And I put 2 and 2 together and got about 17. And that was the end of that.
Make sure you take Betstar on, betstar.com.au. I think we got Ed back. You there, Ed?
I am, and I guess the lesson of the day is that an Australian mobile is better than a British landline.
That's a lot better, Ed.
Bizarre.
Hey, just before we go on and talk about some of the games this round, the refs still on strike?
They are. It's replacement refs, and I tell you what, it didn't bother me a second in that first game. I didn't see that there were any issues at all. It's an interesting argument because, AFL people have complained about, let's make the refs full-time. NFL refs aren't full-time. I mean, they have normal jobs and they get paid, a decent wage. I want to say it's 6 figures, 100,000 or so to referee these games. So, yeah, they are still on strike, still using replacements.
And how easy is it to find replacement refs? I mean, there's a lot of games that go on and they're all over the country. How easy is it to turn around and say, okay, well, we're just going to replace you?
They've got a lot of NFL, a lot of college football guys they've drafted into it, people like that. So, yeah, it's a great question. I don't know what the pool is like, but because you've got that next level of football, NCAA, that's a pretty big operation, you've got some guys there who are probably ready to fill in.
So, Ed, on a macro level, before we do get into the games, in terms of this season and how you see it shaping up, what's your thoughts and feelings in relation to who's going to succeed and who's going to probably underachieve in terms of the Super Bowl market? It's $7 the field, so the market would suggest that it's pretty wide open this year, which means that there's probably chances to go pretty deep.
Yep, I think you're right. I think it is wide open. I think that market probably reflects that. You know that very well, Alan. I think, you look naturally, teams like Green Bay and San Francisco, and you would think those are teams that are ready to have another crack at it. But Chicago, if Jay Cutler stays healthy, that's a very good football team. We don't really know about the Lions, for example. I mean, they could be really good again, or they could drop off. Personally, I think they'll drop off a little bit. I think if the Eagles get a break, if Vic stays healthy, that's a really good football team, and they could make some noise. In the AFC, I mean, everyone's thinking Patriots, obviously. Ravens, although their defense is getting a little old. In the AFC West, guys, I have no feel at all for that. If Peyton Manning plays really well, perhaps Denver is a Super Bowl quality team. I'm not convinced. I mean, I'm not sure they're going to even win the division. I think San Diego could sneak in and win that thing. So I do think it's really wide open. If you pushed me, I'd go with the favorites, to be honest. I'd say Green Bay, New England are probably the teams to look at, San Francisco maybe. But there's a lot of question marks over a lot of teams.
We talked about the number of quarterbacks making their debut this year, but would there be any quarterback under more pressure than Mark Sanchez?
No, I think that Jets thing is a mess. I think that's a really good point. I mean, you've got Sanchez, you've got Tebow breathing down his back, you've got a fiery coach in Rex Ryan who's liable to say anything, you've got the New York media. So you put that in a pot and stir it around, and I think that's a real disaster waiting to happen. The only caveat I'd say is that if you look at Alex Smith at San Francisco, he's another guy that's under a lot of pressure because last year they didn't ask him to do a lot. They had a great defense, great special teams, and very conservative on offense.